Hi there, you're watching Gardens and Graveyards, where we bring our passion of gardening to the grave. Today, we're working on African violets. We're going to talk about maintaining them and propagating them. If you like anything in this video, make sure you give us a thumbs up and subscribe so you get new videos all the time. Here you see that I'm pulling an African violet that has overgrown its pot out of its pot, gently removing any soil from the root system, and then the intention is to rebury the African violet in new soil deeper, so the actual stem that you see there will be buried up to the crown of the plant. And this is something that you can do with a few select plants. African violets are one of them. This pot turned out to be too shallow for this overgrown stem, so we're going into a slightly deeper pot, which is a different style of pot than I prefer to use for African violets, but it works just fine. And this way, the plant actually has room to grow some new roots and get even bigger. I'm saving some of those excess leaves that had to come off of that plant for a future project. Just wait and see. You'll notice that the pup on this African violet is very bright green with yellow margins. That means this plant has what's called chlorosis. Basically, it just means that it's deficient in iron. So, by transplanting it into a new pot of its own, it will be very happy to have some good soil to go grow in. Maintaining African violets are very simple. They like to just be barely watered, and they like to have all of their dead leaves underneath pulled off, but they do not like to be touched. So you'll see I'm using a paintbrush there to clean off my leaves. And that's pretty much it. They're really hands off. And then I like to use these particular pots that have a water reservoir where I fill the water down below and set the pot, which is clay, inside of there, and then the roots take it up through the soil. I generally only water the tops of African violets when I first transplant them, or possibly when I add a little new soil just to settle their roots. Otherwise, I just fill this water reservoir in these fancy African violet pots. Oh no, this African violet was actually quite rotten inside of its pot, which can happen if the soil gets too wet. And that's on me for not paying a little bit closer attention. But that's okay, because you saw how beautiful this particular African violet looks. I am fully confident that I can get her to reroot and be happy again. But for now, I've got to take off a lot of her leaves because we want the roots to concentrate on growing rather than leaves and flowers. So after I strip the leaves and create a bigger stem so that that can be planted, I just look over the top and make sure that it's evenly spaced with their leaves and there's nothing sticking out so much. And then I'm going to put it in fresh soil and make sure that it's not overly wet. And then I think she'll do really well. Of course, I saved these leaves as well, and it is a slightly different African violet. It has a purple underleaf and a dark burgundy flower, whereas the other African violet that I saved leaves on had a larger, lighter leaf and white flowers. Now for the last part of this project. I've got some fresh soil here that I'll pre-moisten the soil with water. I do this so that I don't have to put a lot of water in it after I have my project done. I'll use some root tone and some fresh water for this project. I'm simply going to put a little bit of root tone on the top of this cap, and then whatever root toner I don't use, I'll toss out and not put that root toner back in the bottle. We try to keep it as sterile as possible, so I'm wiping my scissors off with some alcohol, and then I'm just going to take the bottom of a leaf, snip it off so it's fresh, and dip it in root toner. Well, dip it in water and then root toner. So the purpose of that is the water helps the root tone stick to the bottom of the stem. Then I'll put a little hole in the soil and stick the stem in there and pack the soil down around the stem so she stands up straight. I'll continue to do that until I use all of my leaves. And I will be sure to make each pot a separate type of African violet, meaning like I'm not mixing up my varieties. It's just easier to keep track of that way. Some of these leaves were either broken or damaged, and those don't make ideal leaves to propagate into new plants. So that's why you see me toss those off to the side and not actually use them in the pot that I'm going to try to root. That was a fun project, and I can't wait to see how these little cuttings do. They're really cute. Thanks for watching, and make sure you like and subscribe and ring the bell so you continue to get new notifications of our channel program all the time. See you in the next one. Bye!